players already and talked to some players, and so 15 practices down and feel really good about where we're at. There, in terms of the team health, everybody should be ready to go by the time we hit fall camp. I think the only holdup will be one player, and that's Justice Enna. He's probably going to take a little bit longer than that. So, but everybody else should be good. And everything else, I mean, as far as I see from the defense, I like the way the Jays working with them. I thought overall just you can tell guys are understanding the system a little bit more and more comfortable with it. And then the new guys really holding on to the themes, on to the scheme. And I mean, I've been really impressed, more than anything, really impressed with all the new guys that showed up in spring. Whether they're freshmen or return missionaries, those guys did a really good job. And offensively, same thing. I feel really good about the talent on the team. It's just a matter of just getting the battles won and see who's gonna be the guy, taking the snaps from under center and who the 5 linemen are going to be and stuff like that we'll probably handle out. And when we get to fall camp, special teams look good too. And we with Sam getting some punts and younger Rico getting some punts as well, and so that's another competition. So Will had some really good things, and I thought Matthias kicked well, and so did Capisi. So we got a lot of depth there and a lot of talent. So we'll just see how it goes from there. But really happy with the team, the camaraderie, the connection that they're having with each other. And I think if they can go into this off-season conditioning like they did during the January and February, I feel really good about where we'll be by the time we start camp in August.
Do you expect that QB battle to go deep into camp, or would you rather have that decided in the first couple weeks?
Sooner the better would be nice, but I think that someone's got to take it. I think looking at the playing field right now, I'm sure A-Rod talked to you guys about it. We can see the positives from both of those guys. In the meantime, other guys are stepping up, like Bourget and Finnegan. So, more to just keep competing. I think it's done some really good things for Jake. It's done some really good things for Gary as well. So,
are these guys mature enough to handle a quarterback battle and not choose sides?
Yeah, well, I think the key is seeing the type of character you have in both quarterbacks that are competing. The way they handle it, I mean, you can see that they're working together. They talk often, and they're good friends. And so I think they're setting the example. The rest of the team they've seen it. I mean, we have best friends fighting for position, so for starting spots, so that's okay.
How many quarterbacks do you think you'll take in the fall, and do you expect some to leave in this offseason?
That's always the attrition's always part of the game. So now with the portal, that makes it even harder, but it's what they're allowed to do. So we just got to work with the guys that want to be here. We feel good about the guys that are going to be here, and feel good about where we're going to go from there. So I don't know the exact number. I know we have to have 4 to be able to play. So.
Do you feel fortunate in the way that you haven't had any season-ending injuries, despite how physical you made it to camp?
Yeah, I am. Well, I mean, that's like the biggest worry for a head coach is that you're sitting and you want them to get better and you want it to be intense. You want the guys to get after each other, but there's always scares that happen, and there's some guys that got banged up that I wish it happened, but I don't know any other way to get better at football than to go live. I mean, we put the quarterbacks live quite a bit too, and if we're going to do what we want to do with our quarterbacks, we have to. That's just the game. I think this year more than ever, it's like that's part of training. That's why we do spring ball so early, just so that if we do have injuries, we can still. They require surgery, we can still get them back and have them ready to roll by the time we get to fall camp, and then that month of fall camp, getting into the season, they should be okay.
Do you like with that, you see you spring ball early, do you like the fact you guys can do exit interviews now, and then when the portal opens, guys who are going to exit versus you guys, whatever, recruiting can all be ready to roll?
Yeah, I think it works out for us, timing and school ends early here, so yeah, I think it all works out. I think when you look at the schedule and you look at what we have in college football, we're making it work for us, and then I like where we're at. So I think we're taking advantage of the schedule and the rules. And I mean the portals it's new, but we have to adjust and make it part of our schedule and part of our system.
Kalani, as you've had a chance to familiarize yourself with the Big 12 for this past year, do you feel like you've got the infrastructure, the resources, NIL, everything in place for you guys to win, or are you facing an uphill battle still?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends what you're talking about specifically. So.
Is NIL recruiting recruiting,
Yeah.
the budgets, all that.
So whatever's out there, if you're trying to compare us to the guys that get the most and have the best facilities and all that, there's always going to be someone's going to be up there, right? So for me, it's like there's a move for our program to get there. In the meantime, we need to do everything we can using the resources that we have. And so that's just part of the game, man. I think everybody's trying to chase the same thing. What we have to do is do what we got and be appreciative of the stuff that we have. Know that there's a future. There's things that are coming along the way, but in the meantime, I think don't lose your gratitude and your opportunity that you have in front of you.
Have we got your thoughts on the 2024 schedule and where Utah lands? Kind of an unconventional spot, early November. Do you like that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I like that they're on the schedule. You know, I don't
Like the placement though?
Yeah, it's not. I don't make the schedules, but if I was doing the schedules, we had 12 home games. You know, so maybe one neutral site game. I don't know. The schedule's the way it is, and I think kind of you just adjust and say, okay, this is what we got. Our buys land at this time, and we'll just adjust our schedule and our training from now until we get to the time of the game. I think the first game to the last game is like 90 days or so. So we have to take advantage of the opportunities that we have in that time, and then make sure our guys are. There's a lot of science to it, so make sure our guys are functioning at the highest level, and that we can keep at a high performing level by the time with all 12 opportunities. So, but yeah, it is what it is, man. I have no feeling either way. You know what I mean? So.
How exciting is it to have Utah back in the conference? I mean, it's going to become immediately the best rivalry in the Big 12. What does that do for just excitement level around campus?
I'm excited about it. I mean, you know how I feel about the program there and the fans, and I tons of respect for Utah, and I just think that growing up and seeing this rivalry as a fan and then as a player and as a position coach, a coordinator, now as a head coach, it just makes sense to me. You know, so I think this is and I know it gets heated and all that stuff, and there's a lot of competition, but there's a lot of friendly interactions with both. I mean, there's a lot of guys on our program that know those guys, and when disappointing things or sad things happen, we always have each other's backs. But it's always good to compete and then have that high level of respect. So we're excited about getting them on schedule. I think there's a bye for both teams before the game, so I don't know how the fans will deal with that. I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting that you're going to have 2 weeks of fan interaction before the game, so that'll be a fun 2 weeks for you guys. but I mean, it's really cool to have that game back in and really excited, especially not having it the last couple of years. So yeah, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to it.
This is one of those rare seasons where you just have a double bye during the season. Would you be an advocate moving forward to have 2 byes in the college football season?
Yep, if they let us have 2 byes, I would be all for it. So yeah, I mean, if they gave us 14, 15 games, I'd be happy with that too. So I mean, I just want to play as much football as we can, and I mean, I wish football was year round. You know, I wish in spring ball we could have 2 to 4 games right now. It'd be fun because we actually beat each other up and we get after it. We go live quite a bit, and so it'd be nice to. And then just for 15 practices straight, kind of get sick of it. And but I don't. But I think the players get sick of going against each other all the time. But it's football, man. I don't think there's anything better than that. Maybe March Madness can hang in there a little bit. But,
How much of your role now, Kalani, as a head coach, is spent on fundraising for NIL? What percentage would you say?
I think it's just more connecting with fans and donors all together. I don't look at it as like my job is to be a fundraiser. I think my job is to represent BYU and the church as best I can, and then make sure that our players do the same. And then I interact with whether you're a donor or a alumni or a fan, whoever it is. I just like talking about BYU, being around BYU football, and bragging about the university. So that's kind of my interaction. I think my job is they have guys that are hired to fundraise and things like that with the athletic donors and Cougar Club and LDS Philanthropy. All those guys are experts at that. I just hang out here and hang out with you guys and coach football.
You were talking about the transfer portal, and this is a decision-making time as the portal opens up again. How do you approach internal recruiting?
Well, I think so. There's attrition that happens where guys they want to move on. I think this happens in most places where they want to move on because they want to play, or they just don't feel like they want to be here anymore. And so before there was a portal, I was always open for that. I would sign any waiver to allow a player to transfer and even play against us. The transfer portal came way after I was doing that already. So when you say, how do you feel about it? I think the players should have that opportunity to do that. And I think you as a head coach should run a program and create a culture so that the guys want to be part of it. When in terms of NIL, things like that, and what can help retain players, I would hope that they want to be a part of this experience, that they can see that they're a part of something bigger than just themselves, that they get to represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and whether they're a member or not, and they get to be in a faith-based institution where we talk about the gospel of Jesus Christ, we talk about serving others and charity work, things like that. And it's not for everyone, but it is for the guys that want to be here. And I'm really proud of the guys on our team and what we represent. So we're just going to keep moving with that, and it's unique and different, but I think it's something that can really be a competitive advantage for us.
So do you feel like you checked all the boxes?
Well, I have to watch some of the film. I wanted to be competitive. We had to scale back a little bit. I think the original goal was to get some live work in today, but I think with all the live work that we've already had, we saw enough. We just want to get more situational football. We wanted to do a lot of. We did 2 minute. We want to do some second down, play the third, see if we go for it on fourth or we punt. I mean, we did a lot of different things. So I like the situational part. I want our guys to think like about football. I want their football IQ to increase. So I want them to always think about football and think like a coach. So even guys that are not, I don't know if you guys saw, but you had like guys like Cody Epps and other receivers, Chase Roberts, that were helping the younger guys. That's something that's really important. And actually, Norm Chow reminded me of it when he was here for the clinic. Is just that the best teams, and I sit there and listen to the 84 teams, that the best teams are the peer-to-peer learning takes over. And so it was nice to see that happen. And I think we've always tried to get that going. And so as far as check the boxes, I mean, that if the culture's thriving and moving, then we'll be fine. And I don't think the program's not going to be about one player and not be about one coach. So we just keep rolling together. I feel good about the practice where we're at, practice one to where we finished today. I feel really good about where we're at.
Hey, Rod said he was really impressed with the running game.
Yeah.
So that maybe took the biggest jump forward.
Yeah, big difference. I mean, those offensively, the run game and the tight ends being multiple threats. I mean, we have a good number of tight ends, and being able to do a lot of things with them was really important. And then I would say those two things really help our offense. I think TJ Woods done an amazing job with the O-line. Now, he's not happy about he's just not O-line coach is never happy about everything. And, so it's always you're going to hear him say we need a lot of work, but I like the improvement that I've seen from those guys. And then there's a good veteran group, but there's a good amount of young guys that can play there too. And then I think tight ends. I think Kevin's done a great job with the tight ends. And we have guys that made. I mean, I would say big plays are made mostly by the tight ends. This spring ball, and then the run game was really nice. I mean, it was good to see LJ get reps early, and then to kind of see Miles Davis show up and then make some good plays. Palau Rapati did some really good things as well after coming, with the injuries that he had in the fall, and then like young guys coming up like like Okai Honga that showed up, and Shone Moa, and I mean there's just Jovessa Demuni. So there's a good group there. Harvey's done a great job with them. Offensively, they're doing some really good things. I mean, I think everybody kind of just bypasses the receivers. Maybe I do too, because that's my brother coaching them. But I think everybody just kind of just assume that they're going to be their veteran group and they're going to be able to handle everything. But there's a good opportunity to see all those other spots step up.
Been a nice pipeline from BYU to the NFL. The latest for possible first round, maybe early second round, Kingsley. What kind of impact do you think he will make at the next level, and how does that help the whole program?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. We talk about putting guys in the NFL. I want to put as many of our guys in the league as possible. That's their dream. And so I'm excited for Kingsley. Myself and the coordinators and the coaches, we've talked to a bunch of teams about all our guys. And so it's just more about them getting a shot, and whether they're a free agent or a draft pick, I think there's going to be some really good opportunities for those guys to make a roster and to be in the league. And I'm just really proud of them. So the hard part was that Kingsley still had a couple of years left to play. So, and then, same with Puka had a year, Jaron had a year. So get these guys to just stay a little bit longer. That'd be easy for me. But I have to be able to support them and what they want to get done. So thanks for asking that. I think there's going to be some really good guys getting opportunities.
Kalani, what do you make of the Big 12 taking pro day and making it a league thing versus school?
I haven't had much time to look at it, but it seems to be going really well there. So, I mean, the guys, they trained really hard for it, and then I think you have to expect some things going to be, a little bit rough with the first time, but from what we're hearing from our guys, they're enjoying it and they like the experience. So it was just different for us because we used to make a big deal about our pro day. We used to show it off a lot. So it's just, our marketing group and everybody that used to be involved with that, they have a lot more time on their hands. So we might have to send them to go get some NIL work or something.
Last one for Kalani.
Besides that toddler you got at home, is anything keeping you awake?
Man, I honestly, guys, this is a dream for me. So I get to have so much fun coaching, and I know we're supposed to make it look like it's really, really hard and that everything's so difficult. That's part of the learning process. Is like we go through adversity, we'll learn and we'll get better. I'm still growing, still learning, and I'm still trying to be better as a coach and as a father and as a husband and as just a friend, a brother, all that stuff. So we're all doing that together. You guys, it's the same thing I said. You guys get to go cover these awesome athletes and sports and get to be in these awesome arenas, and you're in the front row and you get to actually have a connection with the athletes and the coaches. So and you guys enjoy what you do. You know what I mean? And so this is part of the experience. I would just urge everybody that's looking to, like, young people, what they want to do in life, just find your passion and do it, and good things will happen. Money will show up, and a good life will show up, opportunities will show up, and I think we can all speak from experience. So yeah, there's a lot of things that keep me up, but it's also like binge watching some shows and stuff like that. So it's like I'm a normal person, guys. Like to eat in and out just like Andy Reid and everybody else. Haven't heard. Huh?
What shows?
Well, okay. I'm into the stinking food shows. So like the Master Chefs. Yeah, I don't know. I like Chef Ramsay a lot. I like them all. So I'll do it all. Top Chef. I do it all. And then I find out that it's just because I like to eat. And I know. So I can eat a meal and watch one of those shows, and then I'm like, I'm gonna try to make something, and then end up making something means I look on DoorDash and order something. But it's just those shows I get a sweet tooth, and I'd rather eat I'm a savory guy over the sweet. But then I think my body's showing is I've given sweets a second chance in my life. So yeah, but it's just yeah. So I like that kind of stuff, and then I like stuff that has all the episodes. I can't wait.
Binge watch, right?
Yeah, I like to watch I want to watch it and then fall asleep and wake up and be like, dang, I missed 2 episodes, stuff like that. Just normal stuff.
Still have a long way to go, but definite improvement, yeah. Especially in our run game, we worked really hard at that this spring, and I think we're heading in the right direction.
Obviously, everyone interested in the QB battle. How's that going?
It's going well, and it's only 15 practices, and we'll get another, about double that in fall camp. So still, working our way through it. But I thought both those guys did a lot of good things this spring.
What are their strengths that you like most, and how unique are they from each other?
They're actually more similar than they are different. Yeah, they're both athletic. They both can make the throws that we need them to make in this offense, and they're both really smart. Of course, Gary has a little more experience overall. Jake has the advantage of knowing our offense a little better than Gary does. So it's been a really, really good battle.
Is the battle going to go into fall, or are you going to name somebody?
Yeah, it'll go into fall. Yeah.
What do you want them to work on during this summer before fall?
Well, in Gary's case, it's just getting more comfortable with the language of our offense, where he doesn't get to the point where you don't have to think about what the words mean. You can just go play, And then in Jake's case, it's just continuing to take great care of the ball. Jake had 0 interceptions the whole spring. I think that's the first time I've ever had a quarterback go 15 practices without throwing an interception. So we've been not talking about it. It's like having a no-hitter, And he made it through practice 15 today without a pick. So that was a big deal, because last year he had some critical turnovers, and so the goal of spring was to eliminate those, and he did a good job of that.
Talk about the run game, improvement there.
Yeah.
What is the biggest improvement you see? Is the O-line, running backs? What caused you to think that had improvement?
All areas. I mean, the run game is, I keep saying this, the run game is an 11-man deal every play. So we've improved at O-line, and our tight ends are playing really well. And then, it's also quarterbacks getting us into the right play, because a lot of our run plays are checks. So there's a lot to it, but I think we've improved in all those areas.
What will be the number one criteria for picking the starting quarterback?
Just the guy that takes best care of the ball and moves the team the best. It's those two things combined. You can take care of the ball if you're really conservative and don't ever do anything with it. So we want that balance of being able to still be aggressive and move the team, but also take care of the football.
You've noted that Redcliffe had no interceptions in those passes. How much of that work was deep passes downfield?
That was a lot. We ran our offense. We throw the ball down the field in this offense, and so we were not being conservative or anything like that. We were just playing football.
Aaron, how important was the physicality here in the spring? We talked about it a number of times, but how beneficial was it to go live and push those guys that way?
Well, it's important because I don't know any other way to get better at running the ball other than to just go out and hit and be aggressive and work at it. And so that's what we did. And we did a little bit more of that than usual, but I thought it was necessary. And again, we're not there yet, but we're going in the right direction, I believe.
Will you consider adding another quarterback in the transfer portal post-spring?
No.
How about a running back?
Being done this spring, just bumps and bruises. You suffered any long-term injuries to your knowledge on the offense?
I don't think anyone that's going to miss the season or anything like that. Yeah, we have a few guys banged up, but I don't think so.
Are there positions that you feel you need out of the transfer portal? Or is there now coming out of spring?
Well, we're a little bit low at O-line right now, just numbers-wise. I mean, we like the guys we have. We're just down a couple numbers. So if we can find an O-lineman or two, we will.
Are you still happy with your group of running backs, or do you see yourself looking?
I like our running backs, and we'll probably. I don't see us. We're not actively looking for any running backs or receivers or anything like that. You never say never. You never turn away a great player if somebody wants to be here. I think at any position. But our need right now is just 1 or 2 alignment.
The experience level you have in the receiving corps, all those guys are healthy. How dangerous can this corps be?
I think it's going to be a solid group. All those guys had their moments last year, and then they also all kind of had their moments of first year in the Big 12, a couple of those guys first year in our offense, and some ups and downs. I think this year you're going to see the experience of taking some lumps last year. I expect that to pay off this year for those guys, and I have a lot of belief in that group.
Is the Keanu Hill experience a tight end?
Absolutely. He's a tight end. He's doing a really good job. And it's been great because he doesn't have to battle his weight to stay light enough to play receiver. He's 240, 245 easy, and he's a mismatch as a route runner and a tight end, and he's a good blocker.
We release a depth chart to your players to kind of let them know where they stand heading into post-spring.
Sure, yeah, we have exit interviews with all of our players in the next week or two. We'll let every guy on this team know exactly where they stand.
And do you have a clear sense of what the starters already look like for your group for this fall?
Not exactly, no. I mean, there's, you've got a good idea who's battling for playing time, but most of those things will go into fall camp.
LJ Martin was pretty impressive as a freshman. Where does he take that next?
Just same thing. Like he had his moments last year too, where he looked really great, and then there's things where he's a rookie and it's the first time this happened or the first time that happened. I think next year you're going to see the experience show where he's going to play faster, he's going to make fewer mistakes, and he's going to be even more of an every down player.
Hey, Rod, how are you going to evolve as a play caller offensively, going into the second year? Do you change much, or is it just about executing, kind of the schemes that you have in place?
I think you always want a little bit of change, but if you're completely revamping all the time, you're probably not going to be good at anything. So I think every year, we're trying to keep the majority of our offense intact, but have enough change and enough evolution that we're featuring our best players and that we're also staying hard to defend.
After an entire spring ball, early returns on T.J. Woods and Gilbride in their position groups, how they led those positions.
They're both outstanding coaches and very good.
Does not having a spring game as the coordinator set you back at all?
No, in fact, I actually prefer not to have a spring game because, first of all, in a spring game, you don't want to show anything, to your opponents. And today, we did a whole bunch of stuff today. It was like first time we've ever tried it stuff, which was fun, and you can't do that in the spring game. And then secondly, in the spring game, you're so worried about getting anybody injured. They usually hold out guys, and today everybody practiced, pretty much everyone. And so, yeah, spring game it's fun for the fans, but for me, sometimes it feels like kind of a wasted practice. So we got one more practice.
Are there summer newcomers that you're expecting that you feel could contribute to this team, like maybe a Cody Hagan, knowing Moeaki was out here?
Yeah, there's some good players that are going to be joining us, and you never really know who's going to emerge, but there are definitely some guys that will be joining us that have the ability to help us in the fall if they can get caught up with the knowledge of the offense.
What are your priorities the next few months? What needs to happen?
Well, we'll start recruiting real soon here too. That never ends. But just continue. We got to continue to have a great summer now. Like spring and summer development is going to be key. Like a lot of our young players and a few of our new guys to just keep developing their skill set and also developing in their knowledge of what we're doing.
And last one for Coach, guys. I guess last thing from us, how would you evaluate your offense based on this time last year versus what you're seeing this spring?
Well, I think we're ahead of where we were last year. Last year we lost so many of those offensive linemen. It was a whole new group, and I was, I thought last year we were, I guess, farther ahead than I thought as far as our development of that group, and. This year, so I'm a little bit reluctant to say for sure, but I think we're on the right track. I feel like our defense has improved, and we're doing a lot of good things against those guys. So I think we're heading in the right direction, but we know how tough our schedule is, so we're going to stay humble and keep working.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. All right.
I know we're further ahead this year than last year with the scheme. We are filling some holes. We lost two really good corners in Cam Garrett, Eddie Heckard. Lost a good linebacker in A.J. Vong Pachong, some good D linemen, Jackson Cravens and Nice Mahe. So we're filling some holes. I like how guys have stepped up. We've been able to, I don't want to say rest, but some of our veteran guys that we know we can win with had good springs, got the work done that they needed to, but then we kind of were looking to fill some depth. So I think we've accomplished what we needed to, and it's good to move on to the next phase of the year.
How different is this defense from 15 practices ago as it's developed through here in spring?
Yeah, so I really like where certain players have got, like Jacob Robinson playing at a super high level. I love where Jack Kelly's at right now. I've seen some safeties step up, and it's probably unfair to just point out a few guys, but those guys have really stepped up, and I see a big increase in just leadership this year over last year. I see more ownership in that the players have a better expectation of what we want as coaches. So overall, I like where we're heading, and I like the progress we've made.
When you're shuffling defensive backs, particularly that slot corner spot, is that just an effort to get guys cross-trained, or is it you looking at different options?
No, we're looking at options. We're we're trying to still find the best guys at each spot. Some injuries have made it so we've done some shuffling, and then also, like I say, I don't need to give certain guys a lot of reps because I know we can win with certain guys. So it's just making sure that we're finding the right pieces for the right place.
Is Tyler Batty a guy that can maybe even contend for the sack leaders in the
Oh, yeah, for sure. Love where Tyler's at. He didn't do a lot of work this spring just because we know what he's all about. But I like where he's at. I like his mentality. He's faster and stronger than ever right now, and he's got the ability to do it.
Can you give us a hint on the safety stuff? How that works out?
Well, I can tell you right now there's been a ton of guys that have played last year or that are playing well right now. I like where Alfred played this year or this spring coming Alfred. Tommy Crassus has raised a big eyebrow right now. He's playing well. And then Tanner Wall looks healthy again. He's playing good. Ethan Slade. I mean, bottom line, there's a lot of guys. We get Micah Harper. He didn't play all spring, so it's going to continue to be a big battle come fall camp in that group.
You brought up Harper, Bywater,
my hero.
Mark Collins. Do you expect those guys and Ciale Acera back for fall camp ready to go?
Yes, we do. Micah, Ciale, Tanner Wall, all those guys that were not taking reps in the spring, we expect to have those guys back.
What about Ephraim, too? Will he be ready?
Ephraim will be back for sure.
Do you have any season-ending injuries out of spring?
There's some guys that might linger into the first part of camp, but we should have them all back. The one that's hairy, Bywater, he's just, progressing with his injury, but he's still a little wait and see on exactly when we get him back.
Do you like the depth at linebacker if in case Bywater is delayed on starting in fall camp?
We do. There's been a lot of progression there. I think Coach Anna's done a phenomenal job with that group, and there's been some young guys stepping up into that role. That's what spring ball was for, and we still have 29 practices in fall camp to continue to get those guys better.
You're still getting some D linemen later. Is that depth chart there pretty much in flux because of that?
No. So the one thing right now with the way recruiting went last year, we feel some of our best players are still to join us, and it's going to create a lot more competition. But if you're recruiting the right way, that's how it's always going to be. There's always going to be competition coming in. It's the starters' jobs to hold on to their job and play great, and it's the backups' job to beat them out. So we're looking forward to some increased competition with those guys coming in.
Do you expect attrition coming out of spring from personnel, like guys leaving, or do you feel like you're going to retain most of these guys?
No, I think most of them will stay. There'll be some guys that want to move on so that they can play more or something like that. But I think the majority of our guys will stay in, and we got to do a great job of fighting to keep our players that we know we can win with, keeping them here. But I don't see a lot of attrition here at BYU. There's too many reasons to stay.
Do you have positions of interest for you in the transfer portal potentially?
None that we have to take right now. I know the offense has mentioned maybe some things that they might do. Nothing we have to take, but we won't turn down a difference maker if the right guy pops in.
There's a pro day going on right now in Dallas. Can you talk about some of your former players, especially like an Eddie Hecker? Do you think he has a shot to make an NFL roster? And Cam Garrett ran a really fast 40.
So I'm glad you asked that. So I love those guys. Those guys down at pro days, some really great players. I heard Cam did great down there. Eddie is coming off a foot injury, so he was only able to bench, but he'll be as strong as any DB in the country. So I think both those guys can play. If they get the right opportunity, those guys can play. AJ Vongpachong had a really good senior year. I hope he gets his opportunity. Jackson Cravens, Nice Omahe, Max Tooley, all those guys, given the right situation, can play. I hope they get the opportunity. I do believe that in the right situation, those guys can all make rosters.
Jay, I know you were doing a lot this year to try and build on what you started last year, but how are you going to evolve second year in the Big 12 as far as play calling, scheme, things like that? Like, how do you view your own personal growth?
So I love that. I think the familiarity with the offenses is going to help. I think situational football, knowing play callers, will only get better in the Big 12. My trust in the players and making sure we're executing what is called is going to go up. And I believe this, too, the confidence they have in me will only make us more productive. So I think as a whole, we should take a huge stride forward. I just compared it a little bit, and I know it's different, but I compared it a little bit to the first years at Weber State. It kind of feels the same way. Like, first year wasn't quite what we wanted, and then the next year's got better and better and better and better. I see that same future here.
Coach, how much
first off, tell me exactly, does this quote sound familiar to you? Competence leads to minor accomplishments leads to competence, which leads to major accomplishments. Does that sound familiar to you?
Well, and I think that's what we just talked about. It does. And that's the process, right? That's the process we're heading on. And I do believe this. You're going to see some major accomplishments out of this football program for the next couple of years to come. It's only going to get better and better.
How busy is the calendar going to look for you and the staff with spring evaluation period and then summer official visits? How big of a piece is that for you guys in the offseason?
Well, they keep changing these rules on us right now. So spring recruiting has drastically changed the rules that we just did. The transfer portal has changed things drastically. NIL changes things. So the reality is you got to be able to change with the times, and you got to be able to adjust. And if you can't, you'll get left behind. And I think that's one thing Kalani does a great job of reiterating to us coaches is we got to be able to change with the times. And I think BYU's really done a great job from the administration side, from the program side of helping us do that.
How do you what do you guys need to do over the next 4 months to be ready for fall?
Well, we got to continue to get bigger and stronger for sure. That's a critical part of summer conditioning. We got to continue to get better ownership of the defense because right now we're not there yet. We did take steps forward, but we're not where I want us to be. And I don't know that we're ever going to be exactly where I want to be, but we're heading in the right direction. But for us to, compete for the Big 12 title, we got to continue to take big steps forward.
Hey, last one for today, guys. Is the pass rush going to generate sacks this year?
It has to. It has to. And for as much as we blitzed last year, we do need to generate more sacks. I will say this, in the Big 12, quarterbacks did a phenomenal job last year of getting the ball out of their hands. And most of the teams did not give up a lot of sacks last year because they get the ball out of their hand well. And so it's both. You got to give credit to the opponent, and we got to be better at getting pressure on the quarterback.
Thanks Jay.